Hey guys, how's it going? Elliot here again. In today's video, we are going to be comparing these two consoles. Now this one here is a Game Boy Pocket, which has been modded. I've installed a Game Boy Pocket screen, which happens to say Game Boy Light on it. And I've also installed a backlight on it, which we'll check out in a little bit more detail in a second. And then I've also got here on the left an official Game Boy Light. This was released by Nintendo. It was only ever released in Japan, so you may not have heard of it, but it's got an electroluminescent backlight compared to this one, which has an LED backlight. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and compare these two consoles. Here are the two consoles right here. We have on the left hand side the Game Boy Light and on the right hand side the Game Boy Pocket. Now as you can see, they do look very, very similar. I have actually gone with a gold Game Boy Pocket here, which I did for the modification, which I believe is some sort of like Japanese exclusive. And then here is the actual Game Boy Light itself. This is kind of the holy grail of Game Boys. It is the rarest Game Boy that was ever made by Nintendo and released publicly, excluding any sort of special edition ones. As you can see, it looks very, very similar. The height is slightly different, as you can see there. It's about a centimeter taller, or probably about half an inch taller. The thickness is very, very similar, as you can see there. However, when you get a bit further down, you can see that there's like a bit of a bulge here on the battery covers. Now there is a reason for this, which we'll have a look at in a little second. You can probably work it out, I guess, just by looking at the size of the battery covers. But other than that, they're pretty much exactly the same. Obviously they both play the DMG Game Boy games. They don't play Game Boy Color games. Same button setup here. There is one small difference, and that is that on the A and B here, it doesn't actually say A and B on the Pocket. And there's also no paint here. This one has actual like protruded or extruded, whatever the word is, start and select, whereas this one here is paint. Now, I don't really know if that gives any sort of benefit. Maybe it might be a little bit harder wearing on this, but yeah, that's just a difference I thought I'd point out. We can also see that we've both got the power LED to indicate power. We've both got the Nintendo logo here. Again, for some strange reason, this one is like indented into it, and this one extrudes. I think it's protrude and extrude, I don't really know. But yeah, two little details there. And on the back then, the sticker is a slightly different size. We've still got these little numbers up here, the serial number. We've got the exact same screws in the exact same location. Power button on the top is pretty much identical. There is one small difference on the Game Boy Light, and that is that we have an extra button kind of click there, which is for the light, which I'll show you in a second. But other than that, it looks very, very similar. And there is also a line going down it, whereas this one here has a little circle. The ports on the side are all exactly the same. We've got volume on that side and contrast on that side. There's no sort of light adjustment for the backlight. So the reason then that the Game Boy Light battery cover is so much larger than this here little Game Boy Pocket battery cover is because the Game Boy Light takes 2 AA's and the Game Boy Pocket takes 2 AAA's. Now, the Game Boy Light uses so much power because the electroluminescent backlight actually requires a step-up transformer in order to get the Game Boy to have enough power to power that backlight. Obviously, in the case of the Game Boy Pocket, it uses LEDs, which doesn't draw very much battery life at all. The Game Boy Light actually has a slightly better battery life than the Game Boy Pocket standard, with no mods to it done, when they have the light off. And when you have the light on, it is relatively similar. So in terms of battery life longevity, it is actually going to be in favor then of the Game Boy Light. Unfortunately, those LEDs, although they don't draw too much power, they do draw a little bit extra. So yeah, the Game Boy Light will last for a little bit longer than the Game Boy Pocket. One thing I should also mention in terms of screen size, the Game Boy Light and the Game Boy Pocket both use the exact same screens. There is only one slight difference, and that is that the Game Boy Light has a diffuser layer on it. Now, the Game Boy Pocket standard, without being backlit, has a little reflective layer, which goes straight in behind the polarizer, and then the Game Boy Light just has the polarizer and the diffuser film. So what that means is the Game Boy screens are going to be exactly the same. We're going to have the same contrast, except obviously there is going to be one difference, and that is the powers of the backlights, which we're going to have a look at right now, so it's going to get a little bit dark. So here's the Game Boy Light backlight, and here is the Game Boy Pocket backlight. Now, there isn't any real way of getting a backlight that's exactly the same in colour, so unfortunately this test isn't going to be super equal. Obviously the colours are slightly different, but you will be able to see a huge difference in the brightness of the Game Boy Pocket versus the Game Boy Light. The Game Boy Pocket really does emit a lot more light than the Game Boy Light. That is a lot of lights. So obviously that means then that the Game Boy Pocket has a better backlight. Now there is going to be one final thing which I definitely think we should mention in this video, and that is going to be price. The Game Boy lights are quite difficult to find, and ones that are going to be in good condition will run you around 80 to 100 pounds. If you're going to buy one that's faulty like I have done in the past, and you can check out some of my refurbishing videos on my channel, then it's probably going to cost you around 40 pounds, and then you might, depend on the amount of work, have to spend more. The Game Boy Pockets are relatively inexpensive. You can buy them for about 20 pounds. However, obviously you have to modify it. Now, buying a modified one will be about 50 to 60 pounds. And to do it yourself is a slightly tedious process, whereby you have to remove the film which is adhered to the back of the screen, which is just using some ridiculously strong glue, so that the chance of actually damaging the screen is very, very high. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I don't really do too many comparing videos where we look at two different products, although if you guys like it, let me know, and I may do some more down the line. Thanks very much for watching. Let me know which ones you guys would prefer to have, and I will catch you in the next video. Peace.